Press the button, my friend.
The Out of Bounds Show is live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge in the Bank Plus studio.
Check it out.
All right, here are the guys coming to Oxford. I mean, there's more than this, but Zachary Franklin, University of Texas San Antonio. I haven't been to San Antonio. Blake has. That's my next road trip. And Trey Harris, La Tech. Those are wide receivers we'll see. Do they have a difference maker? I mean, Jordan Watkins, we'll see. I mean, I know Quinshawn, and they've got a good quarterback. Well, more than one. They've got two good ones in Dart and Sanders. But, you know, do you have a dude that can get open against Bama, Auburn, Georgia, LSU? Bottom line. We are the Out of Bounds Show. We welcome in Jake Thompson, Ole Miss Insider, on three. Jake Thompson on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Jake, these guys may be solid contributors, and that's great. You got to have those. But I don't feel like there's a difference maker at the wide receiver position. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, right now you don't have like the A.J. Brown, the Elijah Moore, even the Jonathan Mingo, and Malik Keats that you've had. You've kind of got to have a receivers room by committee. Now that committee's gotten a little bit more marquee in terms of production with getting Franklin here and Trey Harris coming in from La Tech. And, you know, of course, as we've discussed, the loss of Chris Marshall, which may have seemed like it was inevitable at some point. That hurts a little bit, but you brought in two bodies, and, you know, you've got some young guys and Aiden Williams, who's now here on campus. Everybody's here on campus now kind of participating in off-season workouts or summer workouts. But, no, that receivers room is one that I think either a guy is going to have to emerge or Jordan Watkins is going to have to somehow kind of become that guy, even though he's more of the prototypical slot supporting receiver kind of role. But it may be all on his shoulders to kind of at least get that offense going from the passing game perspective, and then hope everybody else kind of jumps on and follows his lead and just all carries the bucket together.
Okay. All right. It's National Roofing Week, brought to you by Independent Roofing Systems. We're visiting with Jake Thompson on three, Ole Miss Insider. And the Memphis tight end didn't look great during the spring, did he?
He had a good spring. Not a spectacular spring, but in terms of somebody that could be the guy if they do something different with Trigg, or Trigg just once again just doesn't get it going, kind of like he struggled last year. Even without the injury, he was having a slow start to the season before that. But I liked him, and I know maybe they weren't trying to show too much, and I think Kiffin felt they did show too much in some plays called in the spring. But I like the potential there. Now, we sit here and say that in June, and come September, October, we may be sitting, a year again saying, why isn't Caden making that production we expected, as he was the second best option for the Tigers last year? But I have high hopes. Now we'll see how that pans out in a few months.
Okay, let's go back to Michael Trigg. I'm glad you brought him up. Kiffin was frustrated with him last year. Do you think he turned the corner in the spring, or is it, to be determined, Jake?
I think it's to be determined, because he looked good in the spring last year, or at least looked like, all right, this is what they thought they were getting and what fans thought they might see out of him. But, outside of that 3-touchdown game against Central Arkansas early in September, he never really had a big splash. And, of course, he injures himself making that, one really good catch against Vanderbilt. And then that kind of messes up a good chunk of his SEC season, and then just never really found it coming back at the end and in the bowl game. But, I think he knows that it's on him to kind of take that next step. I think he had, I don't know if he, new to the SEC, maybe some struggles, just trying to mature, get a little bit older, understand how everything works here, whole new system, whole new operation than it was over in LA for him. So I think he understands that now, but we'll see come September. But I think he does know this is the year he's got to do something, or he's just going to kind of be lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. Michael Trigg. Okay. Jake Thompson, Ole Miss Spirit, on the Out of Bounds Show and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. What's the latest on recruiting? Give me some scoop.
It's been good recruiting. I know they've been picking up names for the future. There was a little bit of confusion with a quarterback they thought they had, or the quarterback thought he was there, and then that didn't pan out over the weekend or didn't shake out. I believe they didn't accept his commitment. He, how these kids come to those camps, everywhere. Everybody kind of has this. They love it. And I think he said, hey, I'll come play for y'all. And I think they said, hey, pump the brakes on that a little bit. Let's see what shakes out. He was a 2025 kid, but the portal has been a little bit kinder to them in terms of that recruiting wise for the immediate future for this fall, after having kind of those issues with everybody departing right after spring. You've had the defensive lines kind of filled up a little bit. You've gotten Gaddy in from North Texas to kind of help out the secondary, and then you've gotten these two. You got Franklin in for sure. He was kind of that unspoken one that you thought was coming in once they lost Coleman to Florida State. So right now it's kind of a status quo in terms of any surprises or lack thereof.
Okay. All right. So when are you thinking that the offense, when you look at the two units, are you thinking that the offense will be better than the defense, or the defense will be better than the offense, or how do you see it right now? I know we still have all summer and a month of practices before the first game, but where do you stand on that, Jake?
I think the overall package of both sides, I think the offense is going to be better or ahead of the defense. I've talked up the defensive line a lot. I think that's the best unit on the defensive side, but as a total, package, offense-wise, receivers, quarterback, running back, tight ends, and you've got some returners on the offensive front. I think the offense is going to be the best place to start off with there. Sorry, I was trying to think more about my thoughts, but no, offense is, I think, ahead of it. But defense is, there's too many question marks right now for me after that defensive line. Are the newcomers and the linebacker group going to fill the holes that the guys left? And that secondary is just got a lot of veteran experience that's not there anymore. That's going to have to be filled by DeAndre Prince, who's coming back, and just a lot of these younger guys and new guys. Yeah,
you had some good players on the back end there, Jay. I mean,
yeah, you had AJ Finley.
Yeah,
who was just kind of felt like he'd been there forever. And then Otis Reese kind of got his legs under him after that waiting game a couple of years ago when he transferred from Georgia. And he was just kind of a steady guy, I think, out there for almost every snap of the entire season, of the past two seasons or close to it. Finley as well. And then you lose them who just have been in, I know the system's different with Golding coming in and not having the same coordinator, but two guys that had understood a Lane Kiffin operation, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And you just lose that in the locker room. And, that's hard to find right off the bat, but I think Prince is a guy that's at least kind of vocalized to us when we talked to him over the spring and even in the fall last year. He knows he's kind of got to be that leader, but still on the field, the secondary is still a big question mark, which is why there's so much pressure on that front line, I think, to start off the season until guys get reps and their feet wet.
All right. I got about a minute. Who is Kiffin closest to on the staff?
That's a good question. If anybody can tell us, we'd like to know. He seems close with all of them, but if there's a close confidant, I'd probably have to say Charlie Weiss, just because they interact the most. Both doing the offense, and but I know he loves Golding. Obviously he's worked with Golding before, so I think that would probably be your 1A and 1B to that question. His two coordinators. Okay.
All right. Good deal. Do y'all have a big camp that you're covering coming up soon? Or?
They had one. They had just kind of some camps this past weekend, and I've kind of got to check the schedule and see what's coming up this summer. I know it's going to start ramping up soon for us.
Yeah. All right, Jake. We appreciate it, bud. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Jake Thompson, on 3 Ole Miss Spirit. On 3 Ole Miss Spirit. Jake Thompson joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. Bundle your car and home and save. Make it easy on yourself. Super competitive rates, excellent customer service is powered by favrates.com. That's F-A-V-E. It's National Cheese Day. I love, Blake and I were talking about it earlier, whether it's a charcuterie board, meat and cheese tray. I think that saved me in the Dominican. They dropped one off with saltines. I was like, yes. But Boar's Head is premium cheese. And, premium meats, and it's the number one selling hummus in the country. But on National Cheese Day, we'll go make you a Boar's Head pizza with Boar's Head premium meats and cheeses this week. We'll be back in a second. This last segment, this show's flown by. May have to do another couple hours.